Welcome to the Ball Ground City Council regular meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We're not going to have a Veteran of the Month this month, so we'll go straight to item number 2, which is Pledge of Allegiance. Y'all will stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it brings us to item 3, approve the agenda. Council had a chance to look at the agenda. Motion to approve
Second.
and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Next on the list are appearances or public comments. Anybody sign up to speak?
Do you have anybody, Karen?
Does anybody want to speak?
I didn't know this first time I've been here. So
Welcome.
I didn't know what the sign had been.
Okay, if you'll come up to the microphone, yes, sir.
Let's see, I just have a few questions, and that is, I know that they're putting in that cement plant down near Jordan and Old Nelson. And are the trucks going to be able to come down Old Dawsonville Road?
That construction right now is in the city of Nelson.
Right,
Typically, the trucks that I see have been turning right and going out to Ball Ground Highway, which is
Yes.
the main
yeah,
trucking route. There's nothing that I know that prohibits them from going down Old Dawsonville, but I wouldn't think that they would.
yeah, I mean, because one, getting on the main street off of Old Dawsonville, so you got to go right or left
It's
anyway,
tough.
at the poor way. But if they started doing that, is there any reason, okay, I've noticed on the road that goes in front of the library that you have a weight limit sign up there. Is there a reason why Old Dawsonville Road couldn't have one of those also?
Does Old Dawsonville have a weight limit, Eric?
It doesn't, and Old Canton Road was formerly a state route and weight limits were established.
It was a state route?
At one point, yes.
Huh, okay. Okay, and so we're stuck, just like 372, we're stuck doing whatever the state wants us.
Saying it was established with a weight limit then. To establish a weight limit on Old Dawsonville, we'd have to go through the same procedures through the state for a study on what the road can endure. And you come up with a weight based on an engineering study of what the road can handle weight wise and post it at that level. It is hard to enforce unless you buy scales and everything.
Sure. I mean, is there is a default value for that road?
I don't ever see, I think it would be too much for the trucks to negotiate.
I don't either.
And the area right there at the railroad tracks is a disaster. And Eric has tried to get that worked on, even though it's not in the city limits.
I know, God, I just know that in our HOA meeting, there's a company called Pulte or something like that, just getting ready to develop a big area there on that Old Nelson Road.
But
And they
actually
want-
be behind North Mountain
You're
Brewery.
right, and they want to cut through my neighborhood and maybe, and it's a way, I know the way it's phrased is it's only going to be emergency and it'll have a lock gate and only the police and fire department are going to have it. But they're a big company with a lot of money, and something tells me that they might be able to convince somebody that it's okay to egress and ingress some of their vehicles, construction vehicles.
I think Eric can probably best explain this. He's been working on this with Pulte, and I live in the same subdivision, and
Yeah, okay,
I know the lot that you're talking about.
right.
The emergency road, that access road would not belong to end to Pulte.
Okay.
It would belong to the city and Cherokee County Fire. Cherokee County Fire, under the fire code, if you have more than 120 homes in a neighborhood, there has to be 2 means of ingress egress. So when they have their main entrance, that's not enough. They have to have another one, which is locked with what they call a Knox box. And I don't even think police have keys to Knox boxes. That's fire only.
Oh,
So every fire engine has a key to the Knox box.
okay.
And that's all recorded when they get out of the truck. When they open that, there's a recorded time on when that's opened and then when that's closed.
Oh, okay.
So those gates are very strictly regulated, and fire doesn't let anybody else mess with them. Now,
Even a multi-million-dollar company wouldn't be able to
they don't,
persuade
They
the
don't.
city for an extra.
they don't, and even if they did, the city, which I don't believe they could, they wouldn't fire. That's fire's entrance.
Okay.
It's built specifically for a fire truck, so it's not necessarily wide enough for a 2-lane road or anything else to have 2 ways of traffic in and out. It's built for that fire truck.
Oh, okay. Feel better.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted? Okay. Thank you.
Those are all good questions, especially about the Mountain Brook. Anybody else? All right, we'll move down to announcements, informational items.
Yeah, continuing for the next couple months, we still have the Saturday unplugged sessions at City Connection Park from 6 to 8 p.m. Ashley's done a good job of finding good talent for really reasonable rates to provide entertainment in there every Saturday night. Also on Saturdays in City Park, 8 to 9 a.m., various exercise classes from yoga to Zumba to whatever. It's a different kind of class every Saturday morning. So watch the city app and downtown Facebook page for what type of exercise that is. September 7th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. will be Art on Main, and that is an open container event. We'll have the bulk of them will be in the city parking lot, but then other pockets as they get more vendors will be established along the corridor. And then September 14th, 7 to 9 p.m., Whiskey Rose concert in City Park, which will also be open container event. And that's the September events.
Busy September. Okay then. Sir,
There's a Facebook page or something for everything you just said is there.
Tell you what, Ashley, if you'd raise your hand, if you chat with that young lady before you leave, she can get you hooked up on Facebook and the city app.
okay, now we're going to consider approval of the minutes from July 11th, 2024. Is that correct or? Yes, I'm sorry. We have a motion to approve the minutes. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion minutes are approved. That brings us to old business. Consider second reading of an ordinance to amend zoning code section 106.1 special land use permits and section 104.18 permitted land uses and conditions for the purpose of clarifying and expanding the special use permit process.
There have been no changes since our first reading. We've conducted 2 public hearings. No comments were received at tonight's public hearing. Again, this just tightens up zoning code. It removes several items like gas station, convenience stores, vape shops, massage parlors, items like that from a right of zoning. So any of those end users would need to come before city council to get approval for new ones to be constructed. Chris,
Okay.
anything to add?
It's up for approval tonight.
Yes, this would be the final reading and it'd be in effect tonight.
Chris, quick question. We discussed last time that if somebody put in for something, whatever, say a vape shop, and we approved it, but then they never went forward with that. If somebody 6 months down the road wanted to put in for a vape shop, they would have to go through the process all over again, correct?
There's a 12-month time.
So if we would approve something, it would hold for that 12 months for that. Okay,
Yes, that's consistent with the county's special use ordinance.
okay.
I thought that when, in our work session, it was a different owner, new application.
That's what I thought, but
So I believe the way it's written, and again, this is modeled after the county, it runs with the building. So if somebody were to make the investment to build a car lot, they manage that, they run that car lot for 10 years, it wouldn't devalue their property if the council would reject it again.
But now, that's not what I'm saying. If they put in for it, but nothing ever materializes, it doesn't come to fruition of what they put in for. Say I bought a piece of property and I wanted to build a vape shop there, which I don't want to do, but I wanted to put a vape shop there. And you guys approved it. For whatever reason, I said to you, I'm not gonna do it, I'm backing out. And if I sold that piece of property to somebody else because we've approved it for a vape shop, or would they have to come in because they're totally different people? They would have to reapply for that special use permit.
So the way it's written now is if you issue the special use permit, it runs, they have 12 months to build that building, conduct that business. If they don't do that within 12 months, then they have to come back. If it changes to a new owner within 6 months, that new owner doesn't have to come back for the special use permit.
So it would be, it could transfer over to somebody
Yes.
different as long as it's within that 6 month time frame.
Within 12 months.
Oh, 12 months
Yeah.
time frame. Okay.
So if we amended that, we would have to basically start all over. If we amended to the owner, that it would not apply. Like say,
If
for
we
instance,
amended the ordinance, would we have to go back to the public hearing process? I would defer to Daryl on that.
I think you would, but I don't feel comfortable. I feel, based upon my research, that if you try to restrict it to an applicant, rarely are you going to find anybody, a property owner out there who is part of the process of seeking a special use permit, who's going to do it alone and isn't going to do it with help from bigger entities and so forth. And oftentimes there is going to be a conveyance that's anticipated. The original owner is going to sell out to whoever ultimately is going to own the property if it's to be used, for example, as a gas station, a convenience store. So I think that based upon my understanding of the current law, as it's been in place since 1998, we'd likely get someone would file for writ of mandamus against us. And I think that we would be challenged in Superior Court and we would lose if we tried to restrict it to one single applicant. I think the 12-month limitation is fine, but you can do it if you want to try to go that route. I just can't give you any guarantees if we get to Superior Court that the Superior Court wouldn't say and an appellate court wouldn't say that that's that we're exceeding our discretion as a city council. And I think that it would be considered too onerous. It's- But you can try. If that's what you.
And it might provide a little bit of comfort. This ordinance does have some provisions for the city going in and doing regular inspections to ensure that the business is compliant with whatever conditions you may attach to the approval of special use permit. If, say, the business were to change hands, the new business owner was not doing things the right way, there is the allowance to revoke that special use permit.
So just to give you an idea, mandamus will issue against this governing authority under basically two circumstances. Number one is when there is a clear legal right to the relief that's being requested by, in this case, the property owner. I think we would have a hard time saying that this applicant who's elected to sell their property to somebody else is now restricted. The new owner wouldn't be allowed after you've already told the current owner that they now have you've got a right, you've cleared the hurdle, we've issued your special use permit. I just question, I question the strength of any of our arguments in Superior Court, knowing that one reason, one rationale that mandamus could be issued is if there's a clear legal right. The other time, the other circumstance that the city would lose in a mandamus situation is if it's determined by the court that there has been a gross abuse of discretion. I worry about that as well, because in that case, we're going to have to go into court and defend. All right, you allowed this property and this particular owner to have this special use, and you just arbitrarily say that somebody else who was going to purchase this property, it was already anticipated, and that this property owner who got the special use permit is no longer going to be allowed to have it. I think it's a losing proposition. I think they're going to say this governing authority is grossly abusing their discretion. Again, this just popped up. My 2 cents right now. I can do some more digging into that, but
No. I mean, the city should be approving the use, not the person.
so
So are you making a recommendation that you need to research this more here?
I don't know.
You think-
I'm concerned, but if you want to do it, I'm telling you that if you go forward, I can't promise you that we're going to win. I don't feel that the ground that we're on will be as solid, but I can.
You feel good with,
True.
you feel comfortable with the current ordinance, not making a change.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all right. Okay, so we're up for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second by Vicky. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes. Next item is consider annexation petition for 1 ± acre at 1355 Old Canton Road. Eric?
This will be the final reading of this request. There's a small light industrial park going in on Old Canton Road. The owner of that property is requesting to annex this one additional parcel, which will have another light industrial building on it, and it'll just allow all the buildings in the park to be within the city limits.
Have a motion to approve.
Annexation of 1355 Old Canton Road.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moves us down to new business. Consider authorizing city manager to sign any and all documents related to a Georgia Environmental Facilities Authority grant of $35,000. The funds will be used to purchase a hydro excavator and replace lead service lines.
Partially correct. Asking to accept the $35,000. That'll be reimbursement to us on a hydro excavator trailer that we purchased a year ago. Okay, so that'll be a reimbursement. I'm asking for authority to reject the $35,000 for replacement of lead service lines. The reason being for this, we've got our list narrowed down to 4 lines now that need replacement. We've reached agreement with 3 of the homeowners, still waiting on 1, and have a local plumber that will get those changed out. We can be done, but if we accept the $35,000, we're not going to spend that much, but it's federal dollars. So we're going to be involved at Davis-Bacon. We're going to have to go out to bid on the federal procurement standards. We're going to have to do at least 30% of the business with a disadvantaged or minority-owned business. There's just a whole list of requirements that we're going to have to do to only use probably $6,000 worth of this and then return $29,000. So it'd just be smoother for us to finish on the path. Like I said, last month we reported we were at 7. Now we're down to 4. And you got rid of one of them for us.
I do.
Yeah. Where your daughter's building the house and tore down the other house.
You're welcome.
The house that was torn down saved us $2,000. So it's great.
She have that.
So again, just asking to be able to sign accepting the 35,000, rejecting 35,000.
And this would be handled as a motion, not a resolution.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Carries. Next item, consider a resolution to enforce the Georgia Smoke-Free Air Act of 2005 to declare all spaces owned, controlled, and maintained by the city of Ball Ground, such as parks, sidewalks, parking lots, and similar spaces in non-smoking areas, and enforcement shall be in line with the penalties as specified in the Georgia Smoke-Free Air Act of 2005. There's a little explanation in that, Eric.
Yeah, it's just if council adopts this, then we will have to get signs similar to the one shown here to post the areas where we're saying no smoking. And it allows the police department then to enforce no smoking in those areas. Biggest areas we're concerned about, of course, is sidewalks when they're congested, especially our park spaces, concerts going on, ball games, things like that, just to reduce the smoke environment.
And all this includes, the smoking, vaping, any tobacco products,
No, ma'am.
cigars.
Pipes and cigars, yes, but it does not impact like chewing tobacco or things like that. This is on the state. This is smoke. We could do a separate one for that, but the state code does not cover that.
Out of curiosity, what's their fine?
It would fall under this, I might check the comment.
Be $1,000 max.
I think that's an expensive cigarette.
So that'd be under local ordinance, not a, up to a misdemeanor.
Right. Heard in our court.
Would this go into effect immediately after it's approved?
After the signs are posted. Signs have to be posted first.
And,
So if it passes, we'll order the signs and move from there.
and is there a waiting period once the signs are posted? Like a traffic regulatory sign?
In our discussions on that, they would treat it with for the 30 days, just like they do a stop sign or a new speed limit sign. It wouldn't go immediately to citations. They'd put them up and warn folks for a while.
Guess the big challenge is going to be when we have a concert.
Yes.
And that's another thing that we'll do as part of our public service stuff as the concert starts, the introductions are done, and just reminding the attendees that it is a smoke-free park. So,
I'm sure a lot of folks will welcome that. Okay, we have a motion to consider resolution.
I make a motion to accept this for the air items or all.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries. Okay, we're down to city manager comments.
okay, we'll start tonight with Chief G. You see he's got a little earpiece in and whatnot. He's actually attending a class right now that he has to attend, so
My CPR certificate instructor's gonna get up late, so a long night's able to do tonight from 6 to 10.
Don't miss the important part.
No, 30 compressions, 2 breaths. Staying alive, you know, the song. Staying alive. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this brief moment. Pretty quiet month, which I'm learning quiet is good. No reports of any major crimes or anything like that, so that's good. We had a lot of rain in July, as everybody remembers. So we had a lot of accidents. Many times accidents are following too close where people just aren't giving themselves enough distance. No hit runs, nothing malicious, simply accidents. I don't like using the accident because it can be avoided. We call them crashes. So we did have 8, and believe it or not, half were on the interstate, half were on city streets. We did have one domestic verbal dispute that occurred over, and I don't make this up, what they were going to call their son in pre-K. Son was going to pre-K, dad wanted to call him this name, mom wanted to call him this name, so it was a verbal dispute over that. Greater things in this world to argue about, I can handle that, that was easily resolved. And then we did have one theft, but it wound up being domestic related, meaning the people are going through divorce, both have access to the buildings, both have, there's no court orders awarding any kind of property. And under Georgia law, if they're still married and nothing's been awarded, either one can take it. So we went ahead and submitted that, not as a theft, but just as a domestic dispute, civil matter. So like I said, a quiet month, and we like that. Traffic stops, 103 traffic stops. What I love the most is 60 citations and 43 warnings. That is almost 50%, which is good. 35 citations, and I can't figure this out, were for not having a valid tag on your vehicle. Many times people think they have until the end of the month, or basically your tag expires on your birthday. However, what we do is we let the month run out because some people, our job is to educate them. So this is even after the month. So these people are getting tickets that their tag actually would have expired in June. Many of them have vehicle malfunctions. They can't pass the emissions testing. So if they get it fixed, they come to court. Our solicitor does an excellent job of working it out with them. We're not using it in any kind of money revenue generation or generator. The main thing is the vehicle itself needs to be legally on the roadway, because if it's not, someone injures somebody or hurts somebody, the vehicle shouldn't be on the roadway at all. So that's what we focus on that. And of course, 15 citations were for speeding. It's always, when you're in my line of work, you get a little nervous when you see your officers on Fox 5. We don't like seeing that. Unless it's situations like this young guy right here. This is Officer Parker Robertson. He has been with us since March. Great kid, good young guy. He is a servant of the community, and as you can tell, he didn't know the picture was taken. He had no idea someone was doing that. That young man, when I asked him, I said, what were you doing? And he looked at me and goes, my job. I said, excellent answer. So again, when we see cops on TV, we tend to see some of the negative stuff and the bad part. Anytime I can keep our guys in good light, I want you, the council, and you, the community, to understand and know that's what we're doing. We're not, you may see us watching a stop sign. You may see us patrolling the neighborhood. You may see us doing some other things. That's some of the stuff that they don't see. And the one thing that these guys have bought into, and the one thing they understand is we serve you. So that is just a prime example of what that young guy's doing. And he's not the only one. Little things are happening. We're at the school with the superheroes. We're at the school with we're doing stuff with Parks and Rec. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But stuff like this, I think you guys need to see it, because oftentimes you don't get to see this stuff. So other than that, it's been a great month. We're gearing up for fall with our Spooktacular and our Whiskey Rose concert. We met again today. We met to talk about the Christmas parade, what worked, what didn't work, where we needed to improve, and where we were strong at. So I'm feeling confident, and I'm feeling good that getting in front of that and doing some good preparation will help have a great outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. July is the first month of our fiscal year. Total fund balance at the end of the month is almost 2.3 million. As I say, this is quite a drop from last month. We are in our non-revenue season, won't begin really taking in revenue again till late October. July revenue and expenses, again, they're going to match because it's our first month of the fiscal year. Expenses in general fund at about 59,000 against expenditures of 148,000. Splost revenue was $635 because the check just got picked up this week for last month, so it'll show in next month's financials. Utilities, 182,000 in revenue against 153,000 in expenses. And in the governmental reporting, it always bothers me that the expenses don't show as high sometimes as they really are, which is why the fund balance is down. Some of the expenditures were for prior period, but also for capital investments, which don't show in your expense columns. So that's why we don't show as many expenses. Those are standard monthly expenses, but our capital investments still come out of the bank account. Which is why the balance is down, but don't show as an expense. Administration, audit preparation, software training. We spoke last month about the need to look at some new software. We've actually been able to do some training in the current software, and we'll schedule more training and may find a way to keep that software in place for at least the foreseeable future. Liability insurance assessments, and then also inventory of properties, vehicles, capital assets. On our capital projects, Roundabout have assurances today that it'll actually go out to bid next month. We're supposed to be out to bid on this, and we'll see again in a minute the Mountain Brook sidewalk, both by September 15th. We've made good progress this month. We've only got one red parcel left. The ones that are in yellow are working through the system. We have some changes requested in the easement language. I don't see any reason why we can't do them with ALO. However, that's currently with Cherokee County's legal counsel and with GDOT's legal counsel. But they look like very simple modifications that could be made. We still have the one red parcel. That is the Ball Ground Highway access to the Chevron station, and they are requesting some changes there that I don't believe we can accommodate just because of the roundabout design standards that GDOT has to approve. They're requesting a shortening of the center turn island so that could still be a full-blown access point. Right now, it's only a three-way access point. You can right turn in, right turn out, left turn in, but no left turn leaving. And they want a full left turn leaving. Don't think that they'll be able to accommodate that. On the spur and bypass, big news this month. $4.339 million picked up thanks to Representative Rick Jaspers and Governor Kemp have provided those funds to acquire right-of-way for the future truck bypass. So that's excellent news. We did get the news, which really was good news, from Senator Warnock's office that we did not make it out of appropriations for the right-of-way money. But it's good we didn't, because we'd have been double funded on right-of-way. So now we can go back to his office next year and ask for construction funds. So that's what we'll be doing with them. We meet with them in November to start that process again. Mountain Brook sidewalk extension. We're obtaining prices now. We're going to have to relocate fire hydrants along that corridor because now we'll have curb gutter and sidewalk on the west side of the road. So we're going to have to set all our fire hydrants back about another 10 feet. So we're getting prices on that. And again, that'll be out to bid September 15th as well. Grogan Street, the folks that we had submitted to have asked for some additional time because of this is going to involve some deep patching. They need more time to work on estimates. We have that out to 3 paving contractors now and get moving on that. We're still holding with the required paving completion by September 30th. Groover and Civic realignment, we have a proposal coming from Brevity Engineering to design that. This is going to tie in with the Parks master plan as well as we relocate the entrance to Calvin Farmer Park and create a new entrance for the senior center and redesign the parking there as well. Public Works. We talk sometimes in the term of toys, but they're actually very valuable. We did appropriate funds this year and we'll be purchasing a drone. But this is a drone inspection that's being done right now of our elevated water tank. So it allows us to get up there without physically climbing and take a look at some of these things. So we will be moving forward with the drone. The other advantage, although not Public Works related, is if you look in the center of the picture, that's some drone imagery that Chris was able to take and put in our GIS. And if you look how much clearer that is for planning purposes than what surrounds it that we get from the aerial imagery. So as we get that, we'll be moving into getting a lot more images, and that'll be able to be worked through Parks and Recreation, the downtown group, as well as Public Works and Public Safety as well. We can see your house. No real change on this piece of property. We do now have a copy of the contract, though, that does list the City of Ball Ground as an additional assignee on the contract. So for whatever reason that project goes south, we will be able to step in and acquire that parcel of property for $16,000, but that will enable us to get the triple feed and the pressure increase into the North Mountain Brook community. The automated valve installation, notice to proceed issued to Mission Communications. It's about $6,500 that we'll be investing there, and that will be the completion of this project. They are supposed to set our meter tomorrow, so we should have power there, and that'll be really a big boost for the water system. Our water service line inventory, mentioned this brief earlier. We are uploaded to 120 Water. We have not submitted yet to EPA. We are down to 4 service lines that we're dealing with. If we can resolve them before September 30th, then we can do this one submittal and never have to report again. If we even have one that's still not cleared by that time, we'll have to join everybody else and report each year for the next 10 years. So we'd just like to put it to bed instead of submitting negative reports for the next 10 years. Notable issues right now, we are conducting a rate assessment. Also, our license to operate a public water utility expires in July of next year. So we're beginning the work now to apply for a new license to operate. We're doing cost estimation on a force main replacement from 6-inch to 8-inch, looking from Sage Hill to Airport Road on that replacement. It's about a $2 million project. Also doing future capacity planning on sewer. And we know all these things are coming. We're good for 8 to 10 years, but in water sewer, we need to be planning beyond those points so we know what it takes. Also doing a cost estimation on a lift station conversion from Myers to Flight. We think preliminary that could be done for about $120,000. If that's done, it would get us an extra 5 years of capacity, just because Flight is a higher volume pump than Myers. So just things we're looking at there. The Metro District audit, we're about 50% complete on meeting the audit standards there, and that is due in September. Howell Bridge lift station that we discussed that had the major failure month before last. The pump issues have been resolved. We're now replacing the check valves. The plug valves have the upper and lower guide rail brackets that need to be installed. As of close of business today, our valves were changed. So the issue here, and just I'm probably the only one that really cares, but this stuff fascinates me. I'm sorry. This right here is a check valve. This line right here comes from the sewer wet well. And this line here goes to Canton or Airport Road. This check valve, once the pump quits pumping, this check valve automatically closes and doesn't let any sewage flow back into the well. What happened and why we had a failure is this valve failed. The valve was allowing sewage to flow back into the well, and it had a pump running backwards at about 100 gallons a minute. The level rose, it called for the pump to run, and we took a pump from going backwards at 100 gallons a minute and tried to go forward at 700 gallons a minute. That's what sheared the pump in the bottom of the well and caused, right now we're up to about $127,000 in damages inside that well from that coming apart. This assembly right here that you're looking at from top to bottom is $18,000, and we replaced 2 of them. So this is what it looks like installed, and then this was yesterday's picture, and then today the other one is installed here. So after labor and everything else, we're about $44,000 for this repair. Water and sewer has become tremendously expensive, so we don't go up on rates just to collect more money. These are the expenses that we're trying to offset. Recreation and parks, fall ball is getting ready to start, and the fields have been prepared for that. This is probably, I think, the best that the fields had ever looked going into the ball season. We had a request for handrails on the new stairs between Groover Street and the park, so they've been installed there. And this winter, as things calm a little bit, we're going to be working internally on new rate assessments, just like looking at water and sewer, looking at parks as well, and really trying to mirror a lot of what Cherokee County is doing with the parks and come up with different rate structures. A rate structure for recreation, a rate structure for travel teams that are typically a for-profit type group that should pay more than just a small rec outfit trying to get by, but also rules in place where we can validate that just because they're a nonprofit, that they're really something that's a nonprofit contributing in ball ground, not that they just hold a 501 status. Community development. Chris and his team have had a busy month, had pre-zoning meetings with Pulte Homes on the Flint property. That's the property on Ball Ground Highway at Sharp Mountain that FedEx was previously looking at. So they're looking at a zoning action there to go residential. The model railroad light industrial building up on Old Canton has been permitted and work has started up there. 372 South, he's doing the plat reviews, but it appears like we've got the easements now for that water line that got laid in the wrong location by the developer so that we can actually accept that infrastructure. Been meeting with Lusk in the Gilmer Ferry Road project for 108 units there. That zoning has been completed for years. I think most of you met with Covington and the Thornton property. They're back at the table with a new application dropping one tract of that property, Chris. So one tract of that assembly they're removing from the project and redesigning. Working with the county and other cities on the Safe Streets program. Also, we've moved occupation taxes and whatnot are now completely in community development. Magby has been approved for their site work, so they'll be working down there soon and putting a new building down there at Magby. GIS is a constant battle to keep things current, dressing that up, but also he's got folks back out in the field now getting GIS locations of every water meter so that we have that data in our system. Since we don't read water meters typically anymore, we either drive by with a radio or it's picked up by cellular, you can lose track of where meters are. And so this way, when a meter needs maintenance, you can find it. Subdivisions are easy. Old part of the city is difficult. We still have meters under the back porch, of a house that was built in 1930. So it's, you can lose track of where things are. Building permits, we only issued 4 building permits in July. You can see our pace is slowing. We're about 36 behind last year. But you can also see from the other reports how many developments we have looking at getting started in the near future. Again, just 4, 2 of them were in Malone's Pond and 2 of them were in Marble Tree of the new permits. Potential development that we're looking at now, still with the 145 units on Old Dawsonville for Pulte Homes, Ball Ground Highway, the 41 townhomes. We always think they're dead and gone and then they come back for another meeting, but you never know. The behind the Wheeler House cottages, that's the 125 units there. Howbridge Road behind UAC, that sale did go through and has been picked up by 4-Star. So the potential for 140 units there. Again, Waverly Thornton and modifying their application, and then the Flint property at Sharp Mountain. And this just gives you an idea on the map of where it is. Just 2 interesting things to toss out. The rental properties, corporate rentals. This is put together by the county to just kind of show we've modified our zoning ordinance so they can't just come in and have what happened to us out on Old Dawsonville Road again. But currently, developments like that, there's over 2,600 units in unincorporated Cherokee County. We've got about 165 units here in the city, spread between the towns. Next largest area would be Lantern Walk. Mountain Brook has a couple. Old Mill has a couple. Cherokee Village has a few. So during that time, these big corporates were just buying houses every time they came on the market for rental. And then this map just kind of shows in the pockets where you can see this is the one out on Old Dawsonville Road. This right here is the ones in Lantern Walk. You can see Old Mill has really picked up a few in this area. We even have a few up here in Heritage Woods. So that's where the corporate folks have been buying. And we'll be cleaning up this information and sending that out to the elected body. There's a lot of good information in this study to look at. Are there any questions?
All ground rocks.
Absolutely.
Okay, and Mayor Roberts was unable to be here tonight, so he won't have any comments. So we'll go with the council comments. I'll just start off and I always do this with every council meeting, want to make sure that everybody's familiar with our Veteran of the Month program to please nominate some veterans. So it's a really good program. If the rate slows down, we may have to make it a quarter, but that may be a little more manageable for us. But we still need those applications to come in. And the qualifications are that you have to be a Ball Ground resident or you have to be a business owner in Ball Ground. And I don't know whether anybody was going to mention or not. The former police chief here, Dana Davis, passed away, and his funeral service, I think, is Saturday. Is that right, Eric?
Yes, sir. At 11:30, Karen? 11 a.m.
And I knew Dana back in the late '90s when he worked in Alpharetta Police Department, and then he became the police chief there. Good guy. Really, we worked together a lot on law enforcement accreditation. And that's it. Scott?
I want to thank Ashley and put together a great theme for the kickoff of school. Police department, it's a little superhero kickoff that you see that on social media. That was fantastic. My girls are well out of school, but for kids coming to school and getting welcomed that way, it's an event that was put on. Ashley pulling that together. We're going to have some more exciting events like that, so we can like the yoga and exercise more. A lot of things you're seeing. Just follow that page. If you're unsure about where to find that, speak with Ashley afterwards. She will help you. It's a lot of great information. It shows what's going on in the city. Or if you drive Valley Street, they're popping up on the sign as we're sitting here right now. It'll tell you a lot about the information. So, thank you all for being here.
Vicky?
Thank you for, I'm gonna also say thank you for being here. I mean, it seems like every month, we have more people that come and see what we do, which is a great thing. And just that school started and it seems like summer's over, but it's really not. It's the weather would be that way, but a lot of little kiddies out there walking to school and everything, so be careful. And that's all.
Chris?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Ashley too, talking to the business owners. I do a lot of that in the evening time. And they're very, very pleased with everything you're doing. We are too, so it's been great having you. And just thanking everybody for coming this evening. We appreciate it when you come and listen to us.
Internet.
Ditto. Kudos to Ashley. Thank you for coming.
Okay, any public comments?
I have one. Just a congratulations on the Ball Ground Botanical Garden with the award for, what is it, the best park in Cherokee County. I thought that was pretty outstanding.
So it was a great honor for them, definitely.
Can I ask a question? On like the things that you were talking about, all these new units that are coming, are you gonna do anything with the roads as far as expanding them and having more roads, or are we gonna have to fight the traffic with that many more people?
Yeah, part of what we were talking about earlier was with the truck bypass, moves the state route out of downtown and moves it south of the city, which means the issues of coming out of Dawsonville Road and onto Main Street won't be that challenge anymore. So that's a huge project. As we said, we picked up another 4.3 million in it. That's going to get us through to the construction point. So now what we're looking for is $40 million for construction. And, but we'll get it. And things are moving in the right direction. So that'll be the biggest new issue. We're also working with, the folks that appear to be the ones that will develop behind Universal Alloy, which would extend Lowry Street to be a full north-south connection between the new truck bypass and Main Street downtown. So it'll give us 3 arterials really going north-south. So that'll be a big assistance as well.
I'm gonna interject, but we're also working on our impact fees too, our impact fees, which would help us with our roads and also Parks and Rec. And hopefully will be approved at any time, and we're waiting. We thought we would be approved last month, but there's pickup in UC, so we're waiting right now for approval. It's close, it's really close. And the good thing about it is, it's not gonna be any cost for y'all. Y'all are already here. These are people coming that have to pay for the road improvements and things like that.
Dr. Davis, a real interesting downtown. A extra wide load called backup all the way down to 372 and then back up 5. One direction.
This is why it's so important
Yeah.
that we get our truck bypass built,
Yeah,
because right now that is the truck route.
I understand.
And we can't stop them from driving it. Once we get this bypass built, then we can take the state route designation over to the bypass. And it won't be coming through downtown.
That would be our streets.
That will be our street.
Will the bypass be called 372 or will it still be 372 going through town?
I don't know what
It will not be 372 through town. Part of the criteria is
Control
correct. That comes to the city.
I want to say welcome to Ballground.
Thanks.
Okay, we have down executive sessions or executive session tonight.
Mayor said he was going to touch base with each of you individually, so I don't think we need the
Just
opinion.
to add, we should all say, hello there, he's watching us because he's texting pictures to us of. He's watching us.
He's watching on.
So we can all wave, say hi there.
Okay, that completes the agenda. The next item is up is to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for coming out. Have a good evening.
See you later.